Hello everyone, this is Talesmith Narratives. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to read a story, The Little Box. The writer of the story is Arthur Conan Doyle. He is a British writer and he also invented the character Sherlock Holmes. Let us read on to solve the mystery of that little square box. We were fairly started upon our voyage. There was a general rush among the passengers in search of berths. A pile of luggage was lying on one side of the deck, awaiting their turn to be taken below. With my usual love for solitude, I walked behind these and sat on a coil of rope between them and the vessel's side. I was aroused from my daydreams by a whisper behind me. "Here's a quiet place," said the voice. "Sit down and we can talk it over in safety." Glancing through a gap between two colossal chests, I saw that the passengers who had joined us at the last moment were standing on the other side of the pile. They had failed to see me as I crouched in the shadow of the boxes. The one who had spoken was a tall and very thin man with a blue-black beard and a colorless face. His manner was nervous and excited. His companion was a short little fellow with a brisk hair. They both glanced round uneasily as if to make sure they were alone. "Well, Muller," said the taller of the two. "We've got it abroad right enough." "Yes," agreed the man whom he had addressed as Muller. "It was rather a near go. It wouldn't have done to have missed the ship. No, it would have put our plans out. Let me see it." "Is no one looking?" "No, they are nearly all below." "We can't be too careful where so much is at stake, Flanagan," said Muller, and laid a dark object upon the deck. One glance at it was enough to cause me to spring to my feet with an exclamation of horror. Luckily, they were so engrossed in the matter on hand that neither of them observed me. From the first moment of their conversation, I had felt a horrible sense of misgiving. It seemed more than confirmed as I gazed at what lay before me. It was a little square box made of some dark wood. It reminded me of a pistol case, only if it was much higher. There was a trigger-like arrangement upon the lid, to which a coil of string was attached. Beside this trigger, there was a small square opening through the wood. The tall man Flanagan, as his companion called him, peered in for several minutes with an expression of intense anxiety upon his face. "It seems right enough," he said at last. "I tried not to shake it," said his companion. "Such delicate things need delicate treatment. Put in some of the needful, Muller." The shorter man looked in his pocket for some time and then produced a small paper packet. He opened this and took out half a handful of whitish grains, which he poured down through the hole. A curious clicking noise followed from the inside of the box, and both the men smiled in a satisfied way. "Look out, here's someone coming," said Flanagan. "Take it down to our berth. We won't need it until tonight, and it will be safe there. It wouldn't do to have anyone suspecting what our game is, or worse still, have them fumbling with the box and letting it off by mistake." And the two men laughed with a cold, harsh laugh before bearing the mysterious little box away with them. How long I remained sitting on that coil of rope, I shall never know. I tried to recall the words which had been spoken in the terrible dialogue I had overheard. Could these facts lead to any other conclusion? It was clear to me that they were desperate agents of some group, who intended to sacrifice themselves, their fellow passengers, and the ship in one great explosion. The whitish grains which I had seen one of them pour into the box no doubt formed a fuse for exploding it. I had heard a sound come from the box which might have been emitted by some delicate piece of machinery. But what did they mean by tonight? Could it be that they were putting their horrible design into action on the very first evening of our voyage? That mere thought of it sent a cold shudder over me. During dinner, a whirl of conflicting ideas was battling in my mind. What shall I to do? Should I accuse them before both passengers and captain? Should I demand a few minutes' conversation with the latter in his cabin and reveal it all? For an instant, I was half determined to do it, but the thought of becoming observed by all, questioned by a stranger, and confronted by the two conspirators was hateful to me. Might it not be possible that I was mistaken? No, I would procrastinate. I would keep my eye on the two men and follow them at every turn. I saw the villains heading to the deck after dinner and followed them. I quickly hid myself in one of the lifeboats that was hung over the deck. I could reconsider my course of action, and by raising my beard, I could get a view of the two men. It was so dark that I could hardly make out their figures. A few of the passengers were scattered about the deck, but many had gone below. A strange stillness seemed to pervade the air. We were to let it off at 10, were we not? Said a voice from right below my boat. Yes, at 10 sharp. We have 8 minutes yet. They'll hear the drop of trigger, wouldn't they? It doesn't matter, it will be too late for anyone to prevent its going off. There was a pause here. Then I heard Muller's voice in a casually whisper. There's only 5 minutes more. How slowly the moments seemed to pass. I could count them by the throbbing of my heart. It'll make a sensation on land, said a voice. Yes, it will make a noise in the newspapers. The deck was deserted now, save for those two dark figures crouching in the shadows. There seemed no hope, no help. Death stared me in the face, whether I did or did not give the alarm. 3 minutes more, Flanagan said. Put it down upon the deck. It was the little square box. I knew by the sound that they had placed it almost exactly under my head. A minute and a half more, Flanagan said. Shall you or I pull the string? I will pull it, said Muller. I could stand it no longer. My nervous system seemed to give way in a moment. Stop, I screamed, springing to my feet. Stop. They both staggered backwards. I imagine they thought I was a spirit, with the moonlight streaming up down upon my pale face. I was brave enough now. I had gone too far to stop. Would you have the blood of 200 upon your souls? I cried. He's mad, said Flanagan. Time's up. Let it off, Muller. I sprang down upon the deck. You shan't do it, I said. It's no business of yours. Clear out of this. Never, said I. Confound the fellow. I'll hold him, Muller, while you pull the trigger. Next moment, I was struggling in the Herculean grasp of the man. He pinned me up against the side of the vessel and held me there. I saw the other approach the fatal box. He stooped over it and seized the string. Then came a sharp snap, a strange rasping noise. The trigger had fallen. The side of the box flew out and let off two grey carrier pigeons. Here is an extract clipped from the columns of the New York Herald shortly after our departure from America. Extraordinary pigeon flying, a novel match has been pulled off last week between the birds of John H. Flanagan of Boston and Jeremiah Muller, a well-known citizen of Lowell. The start was from the deck of the ship Spartan. At 10 o'clock on the evening of the day of starting, the vessel being about 100 miles from land, the bird which reached home first was to be declared the winner. Considerable caution had to be observed as some captains have a prejudice against the organization of sporting events aboard their ships. The pigeons were confined in a specially invented trap which could only be opened by a spring. It was possible to feed them through an opening in the top. In spite of a little difficulty at the last moment, the trap was sprung open almost exactly at 10 o'clock. Muller's bird reached land in an extreme state of exhaustion on the following morning, while Flanagan's has not been heard of. A few such matches would go far towards popularizing pigeon flying in America. Thank you for watching. I hope you like this video. Subscribe, like, and comment. What story should I narrate next?